Crunchyroll just killed anime. Yeah, I don't come on camera a lot, and I haven't uploaded in a while, but that's besides the point. If you watch anime, especially on Crunchyroll, but also on Netflix, you'll notice a stark difference. If you've ever seen Komi Can't Communicate, in the very first episode, you have them drawing a lot of stuff on the board, and you might notice that it's just not translated. You may have also watched dubs for shows like Naruto Shippuden and Bleach and other stuff like that, and there'll be text on the screen that's just not translated. The Netflix case, it's because their subtitles simply can't. Typesetting doesn't exist, and typesetting is where you can stylize fonts for captions and stuff like that and have it appear on different sections of the screen. Aegis sub, or Aegis sub, not really sure how you say it, is something that fan subbers have used for anime for decades, and Crunchyroll incorporated into their own workflow, but now they've gotten rid of it. And this is a problem because, yes, they standardized the process just like most other companies have had, but it's enshittification at its core. Captions are convenient, but they don't allow for multiple lines of text on the screen at the exact same time. So if you take this picture here from My Dress Up Darling, you have this segment subtitled, you have the bottom subtitled, and you have people on the top subtitled, and it all looks really good. It looks like in that Rena part right there, for example, that it was translated naturally. Now, it used to be the case that when you bought an English Blu-ray, for example, that they would do this automatically. If you own like old Funimation DVDs or Blu-rays, you'll see that the text has already been translated into English, which is a very lengthy process that they don't have time to do for streaming, so a lot of people got around this. Also, it usually requires needing to have the master tapes or whatever the shit, but I'm not an expert on it. For streaming, it's pretty much impossible to do that, or even as a fan subber, as like an individual, so a lot of people ended up getting around this by using Aegis sub and using typesetting, as you see here. By switching it to captions, as you're gonna see with a lot of the new fall anime, practically all of them, that's really bad. Like, you're not gonna get that any longer. You are getting an actively worse subtitling experience, and you might go, okay, well then I'm just gonna pirate, or you probably already do, because honestly, who pays for this garbage? But yeah, that's not going to change anything, because 95% of the stuff that you watch on pirate sites, or whether you torrent it or whether you stream it, it doesn't matter. They all pull from Horrible Subs, which is a fan subbing group that just rips from Crunchyroll. Now, Miles, who used to work at Crunchyroll, did do a pretty good write-up on this already, and I am taking some examples from his article if you would like to go and read it. But I've been watching anime for a while, and everything he says there is pretty much correct. Horrible Subs used to be, or actually, I'm sorry, it's called Subs Please now. It's a completely different group, but they do the same thing as the old Horrible Subs group, which is they just rip from Crunchyroll and they don't make any changes. And for the longest time, that was fine. I mean, who really gives a shit? But now that Crunchyroll has become worse, your viewing experience is going to get worse, and pirating isn't necessarily going to fix it. The only way you can get them to change their mind is that if you're an active subscriber, cancel. Just cancel and give the reason is because they changed their subtitles, if they even ask for one. Or make a bunch of noise on like Twitter, because honestly, there's no other way you can get them to revert this change. If this goes through and if it remains the case, anime is just going to proactively get worse, and at this point, you're better off learning Japanese, because while typesetting might seem like something you don't really need, it's something that once it's gone, you're gonna miss it, because key jokes might not be able to be properly understood, and certain parts of the anime kind of just, you know, go in one ear and out the other, and it makes it to where you might not understand something that happened in the plot. Imagine if you were watching, I don't know, a movie, maybe we'll say a Marvel movie or something, and there was some important screen on text, and then they just didn't translate it because the characters were saying something on the bottom. So how do they end up translating this very important text? Well, A, they either do what Komi did, and they just don't have the time, or B, they translate it by having it replace what the character is saying. And if you don't speak English, then you basically have character A, we'll say Doctor Strange, going, I need to get the time stone, Tony, and then it shows something important on a screen that says Tony has a big pee-pee, and in the middle of the subtitle saying, I need to get the time stone, Tony, it then cuts to Tony has a big pee-pee, but Doctor Strange kept talking and saying to keep it from Thanos' hands. And you just don't get the second part. I mean, you will, but it'll go by extremely quickly, and if you're using a streaming service, sure, you could rewind, but kind of ruins the experience. And if you're using films, yeah, I mean, you can't rewind in the middle of a theater. Now, Aniplex of America and other subtitle distributors will still make their own subtitles and give them to Crunchyroll, but like 70% of the anime is translated through Crunchyroll's in-house team, which, by the way, a lot of them got laid off. They're trying to save as much money as possible for some reason after monopolizing 70% of the market. But my point is ultimately that if you don't make any noise now, anime's gonna get worse. And just because you pirate, I mean, it's not gonna really change anything because you're still going to be pirating dog shit. I'm sure there's still a couple of fan subgroups out there that might come back up and rise from the dead to bring typesetting back, but yeah, I mean, honestly, I highly doubt it. Yeah, this sucks.